In Chad, if you have 12 women who are pregnant, one of them will die. Here, the parents and the family are just happy when you save the mom. But if the baby lives, it's like a plus. Out of my first 6 babies that were born, 1 baby lived. And it wasn't my fault, that's part of how it is here. You get used to death, and death is a part of life here. So Our Lady, it was her 9th pregnancy, and she came in 4 days ago, and we found that she had high blood pressure, and the baby had a little bit of low fluid, so we kept her and watched her in anticipation that the sickness called preeclampsia would get worse, and we would have to deliver her. And that day was today, which was 4 days later. We finished up the surgery. It was an uncomplicated closure, and seeing this mom survive this case and seeing the baby survive too, which is a plus, is just one of the reasons why I like working in Chad.
How do you describe Chad? It's the 3rd largest country in Africa. It's mostly sand. It's flat for the most part. It's the world's poorest country. So we're on our way to Abidjan, far eastern corner of Chad. Long ways from where I started out 10 years ago, down in Berry in the south. But somehow it seems like all the time God was arranging things for me to be here, this 100% Muslim area. I didn't come to Chad with any idea of really working with Muslims, but God kind of got me interested in that. And then these, almost out of the blue, Muslim leaders invited us out there. So we're on our way to start a new hospital, new clinic, whatever it turns out to be. We're not really sure. We've done a little bit there, but it's been kind of just going on for 5 years, and I thought it'd be going on for a lot longer before I actually got out there. But here we are, on our way.
Oui, avec James, nous nous complétons. James était un bon médecin. James était un bon financier, mais moi je suis un bon administrateur et un bon traducteur. Donc nous nous complétons avec James.
I don't know what's going on because it looks like there's plenty of fuel, but it seems like there's no fuel.
Je continue à parcourir un peu. Oui. C'est bon?
Oui.
Samedi Denis Michel. Je suis un infirmier diplômé d'État à l'hôpital Adventiste de Bélé. Quand la journée commence le matin, je viens à l'hôpital Adventiste. Je me mets à voir les malades qui viennent me trouver. Je les consulte, je demande leur maladie. Et après, eux aussi, ils me répondent leur maladie, ce qu'ils font aussi. Bonjour. Ça, c'est une femme qui est en grossesse. En ce moment, elle est hospitalisée parce qu'elle a le palu. Elle a le palu, elle a la grossesse en même temps. On l'a mis sous traitement, du palu en route. En ce moment, je pense que la conjonctive est bien. La conjonctive est bien. Elle n'a pas de contraction. Je pense que ça va. Donc quand le traitement va finir, sa santé va s'améliorer et ça va reprendre. Et on attend maintenant la suite de son traitement.
This is Rosalie, and she came in about 6 weeks ago in labor, and we ended up doing a C-section, and she had twins that were premature. She's been handicapped since she was a child, and the fact that she even got pregnancy is a little bizarre here. But both of her babies died, so it was really sad, but we're trying to help her with having hope. And somebody gave us some pictures to give out to moms that have had babies that have died. And so this is a picture of children in heaven when her kids are raised when Jesus comes back. And this is a picture that we can give them. And it shows Jesus coming back, and it shows an angel giving the baby to the parents. And so we're able to give this to each mom that loses a baby. So a lot of people think when you come to the mission field how much you're going to bring to everything. You know, like the American doctor is here and they're so smart, they're going to just take over and be in charge, and how much as a doctor you're going to give to everybody here, and not so much what you can learn. But we have found just in working with different people here, there's so much that we can learn from them as well. And one of those people are Samity. He has such a background, so much experience, that he has been vital to our time here.
J'étais d'abord des agences d'entretien. C'est moi qui entretiens la salubrité, je nettoie la maison, je lave les seringues, entre-temps on lavait les seringues, j'ai lavé les bandes, entre-temps nous lavons les compresses. J'ai aidé les malades, j'ai aidé les médecins à faire leur travail. Et petit à petit, j'ai progressé avec mes encouragements. Et c'est comme ça que je suis devenu chirurgien.
It really is interesting whenever you see somebody become what he has become, because usually in this country, that person would probably pay somebody to get a license because he knows how to do surgery. They'd probably pay somebody off, and they would get that money, and then they would go make a lot of money. For him to stay in his position here really says a lot about his character. He is still a nurse, but he knows how to do surgery. I mean, he's a doctor here, and he is content being here because he truly is just here to help. There have been countless times I've called him in the night to help me with a surgery. And I'm always like, Samity, this is so bad. And I'm the one who's getting really nervous, and he's always like, no, it's okay. He's like, God will help us. And he's very founded in his faith too. It's very calming on you when you work with him.
Je pense que les conditions de soins ici au Tchad nous manquent beaucoup parce que nous ne sommes pas encore vraiment très proches comme des pays développés. Parce qu'il nous manque beaucoup d'hygiène, il nous manque beaucoup d'alimentation, il nous manque beaucoup de choses. Donc nous ne sommes pas égaux avec les gens des pays développés. L'importance de collaborer avec les missionnaires, c'est qu'ils nous apportent leur intelligence. Nous aussi, des fois, on leur donne aussi un peu d'intelligence aussi.
Camel is one of the most dangerous animals to be on the road here. If you hit a camel, man, it's coming right through your windshield. This culture sees knowledge as power. So being educated means having power. Not necessarily having the capacity to do good or improve things, but the capacity to have power over something. Therefore, knowledge also is not as readily shared between people. Abraham is a very solid, he's like a rock in the midst of a stream, because it doesn't seem like anything can faze the guy. He just always has kind of that little grin, his eyes half closed. He kind of just looks at you, and no matter what happens, he doesn't seem to be perturbed or anxious or frustrated or angry. He just takes it all in stride. Yet he's also willing to try new things. He went out with the team that built the first quad dome, the major structure that's going to be the hospital, and helped as their translator, but soon became their business manager and helped them get as far as they could go, but they were not able to finish the dome. They left 3 of the domes undone. 4 months later, he came to me and said, hey, I think we need to finish this. I think I can do it. I watched them, I was with them. So he made up a budget, and I gave him the money, and he went out there, and with the 100% local Chadian crew, they finished the dome in less time than anticipated. They anticipated taking 14 days, but they finished in 10 days. And Abraham came back to me and said, look, hey, I've got $400 left over.
L'équadome est une construction exacte. Dans l'équadome, nous les faisons à partir du sable, des graviers, du ciment. Nous mettons dans les sacs, nous compactons avec des fils de barbelé. Donc ça devient comme une masse de ciment très dure. Donc le vent ne peut pas l'emporter. Même si l'inondation, les eaux des montagnes qui coulent, dans l'équadome, il fait chaud. Donc c'est une adaptation exacte des températures dans ce milieu.
So this is allowing us to do something that's a little more hopefully conducive to local custom, but at the same time keeping the quality of healthcare up. When you find someone like Abraham, you got to hold on to him because they're very rare. He's very honest and has a heart, I think, to do the right thing, and an awareness that corruption can happen, and a desire to not be caught up into that.
Le docteur James appelle Eric est un homme formidable. Il a une formation en théologie, moi j'ai aussi une formation en théologie, donc ça fait que nous sommes déjà de bons amis parce que chaque fois nous discutons beaucoup sur des points théologiques. Quand James s'en va en voyage et qu'il reçoit des dons, il appelle, il demande qu'on ouvre un fonds, il envoie l'argent dans ce fonds, vous le gérez ensemble et vous faites un rapport. Donc c'est quelqu'un qui est vraiment honnête. C'est vrai qu'il a des défauts, mais il a de très bonnes qualités qui méritent qu'on doit vraiment le respecter.
Man, I love these mountains. If I had my choice, I would live on top of a mountain. Have you ever climbed up on a mountain like that before?
Not yet.
Have you ever wanted to?
But I will try one of those days how to climb a mountain.
One of these days, when we have a little more time, we're going to stop on our way out here and climb that thing.
Yes, if we have the clippers to climb, I will learn right now.
So I'm a maternity patient now. Je suis en maternité. Je vis en grossesse. I'm gonna come and wait for my prenatal visit right here. Oh, it's so nice here. So it all started when I was a little girl in Oklahoma. I used to see trees and I thought it was Africa. And then in college, kind of some life-changing things happened and decided to go as a student missionary and happened to go to Zambia. And ever since living there, I loved it, had a great year, and just wanted to go back ever since. and God called me to the medical field. So then the next piece was finding the right guy. He happened to be in the class behind me in medical school, so I snatched him up.
We met actually in the Deferred Mission Appointee program in Loma, Linda, both of us planning to go overseas. And I actually liked, in fairness, I liked her before I knew that, not just purely a marriage of convenience. And anyways, after lots of haggling and negotiating and working out the dowry, we got married, and we never really wavered in our desire to come to Africa. We had both been here before, both really strongly felt called, and we came here. We balance each other pretty well, both with personality and professional. You know, she does OBGYN. I sought out an OBGYN to marry because I hate it.
He married me so that he would never have to do OBGYN again. Not exactly.
She's quite clearly the boss at home. And she's probably really the boss at the hospital too, but I wear the title just so I can get blamed when stuff goes wrong.
So we have 2 boys and a daughter. Our firstborn is Lyle, and he's 5 years old, and he absolutely loves to live here.
Everything. How big is your brain? This is quite a surprise. Your 2 fists together are close to its size. Can I see your 2 fists? Yeah. Let me see your 2 fists. 2 fists. All right, fist bump. Sure. Zane is our middle child. He has just recently accepted wearing underwear. Our youngest is our first and only daughter, Addison. She finally, about 8 months old, just like one day got personality.
It's actually really amazing to see mission life in Chad through the eyes of your kids who are growing and always asking questions, and it is pretty amazing.
Ma famille est très importante parce que c'est des enfants que je les ai nés. Donc ils sont mes chers. Et même si les enfants que je ne les ai pas nés même, ils sont avec moi, donc je les considère comme mes enfants. Ils sont chers pour moi aussi. Les membres de ma famille qui restent avec moi ici, chez moi, il y a moi et ma femme, il y a mes enfants, mes propres enfants. Avec leurs femmes et leurs enfants. Et j'ai aussi un petit enfant qui est un beau-fils, le parent de ma femme. Et j'ai aussi une petite fille qui est ma nièce. Et j'ai aussi un garçon qui n'est pas de la famille, mais il est avec nous. Il mange avec nous. Je lui paye la salle de scolarité aussi.
Chad is known in the African community for developing very good infrastructures on paper, very good systems on paper. You look at it on paper and you say, wow, that could really work. And they're very poor at actually doing it.
Parce que cette route-là, moi, je ne l'ai jamais fait en saison pluvieuse. Ça, c'est la route qui part en ville et l'autre route qui est là-bas, ça part.
Abéché is the capital of the region of Wadai, which used to be the largest region in Chad. They've cut it up in several pieces now, so it's now only the 2nd largest. And for the entire region, which has a population of about 2.8 million, there's 1 hospital. People go to the market, there's black market medicines everywhere that are really cheap. Someone has no training, whatever, is prescribing medications. And then when you do get to the healthcare system, the nurses demand extra money on the side, or they want to sell you their own medications. And so you have a system that has become very much a marketplace type of mentality where it's all about business and making money. It's broken in so many places that it would take a complete revamping in order to really make it better. So our solution is been to try to do something parallel to the actual government system by having a hospital where patients get their medications when they're supposed to without having to pay bribes, where everybody has access to health care. We keep prices down, and we treat patients who don't have the means, or if they don't have cash, we allow them to leave something as a collateral, and we don't turn anyone away. And we just try and show them that there is a better way so they can have more confidence in a more modern style of health care. But it's a tough battle. We're going against a system that is deeply entrenched.
Ok, on va traverser encore.
Non, 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 non. Ça, là, je ne sais plus déjà.
Come on, let's Okay. Okay.
So outside of my immediate family, we also bribed my father and mother to come here, and they came after we had been here a year, and my dad does the general surgery at the hospital, and my mom helps watch the kids, and it is a godsend. It is amazing having them here. Here, we have quite a bit of vesicovaginal fistulas. It's when you leak urine constantly, and it's a result of childbirth. We had a couple of women that we repaired in February together. One had been leaking urine for 25 years, and she left dry. And there's a couple that we did in February that have a small little hole. They're much better than they were, but we plan to do those again. So this is the uterus, and this is the bladder, and you can see that there's a track between them, so that the urine is coming from the bladder and going into the uterus, and then going out through the cervix and the vagina, just leaking out. So we're gonna try and dissect that down and close it. So when I was in my teenage years, Dad was working a lot. I didn't see him a lot at home, but now it is wonderful because since, in America, it's not like you can go to work with your dad. So it is really rewarding. We didn't know that, but God had that in plan for us, and it's kind of cool to see how it's unfolded. So this is a special time in our lives. Samedi's daughter, Sabine, works for us, and she is just like him. I never see her mad. Anytime you want to get mad at the patients for not paying for their medicine or for not caring for their child the right way, she does it in a way that's gentle, and I know she inherited that from her father, and it is amazing.
Avant, nos parents ne connaissent pas, ils ne comprennent pas les choses. C'est comme ça, ils ne veulent, même jusqu'à aujourd'hui, il y a des gens qui ne veulent pas que leurs filles partent à l'école ou bien ils progressent très loin. Mais moi, personnellement, ça ne me dérange pas. Je sais que ma fille, elle va à l'école, elle a été formée. En ce moment, elle travaille. Mais ce sont ces chefs-là qui me disent que ta fille, là, elle travaille bien. Et même la population qui vient à l'hôpital, on dit, ça c'est la fille de Samedi. Ah, mais elle travaille exactement comme son papa.
And it came to a moment where I had to decide who to send on for some specialized pediatric malaria training. And I went through the list of everybody in the hospital and just kept coming back again and again and again to Sabine. The problem was that she was working as a nurse on maternity at the time. So it caused a little bit of tension and friction at home, explaining to my wife, I'm taking your excellent nurse off of your service to come to my service on pediatrics. There was a lot of negotiation. I think for the first and last time since we got here, I got my way, and I pried Sabine away from my wife. So sent her off for the training, haven't yet regretted it.
So far, Olin has stolen her to pediatrics because she's so good and so gentle with the kids, but I'm getting ready to steal her back to maternity so that she can learn deliveries.
What? My wife said she was going to take Sabine away from me. There's going to be very strong words at home.
Même si elle ne s'est pas mariée, moi ça ne me dérange pas. Donc c'est entre ses mains, elle. Si elle voit qu'elle veut avoir un mari, elle peut décider. Si elle veut continuer, pour encore continuer ses études, ça fait son problème. Donc moi je pense qu'il n'y a pas de problème dans cela.
To have Samity's kids educated, to have Sabine educated says a lot to the local girls around here. And you don't even have to go out and say that. You can just be that, and it says a lot.
L'espoir à mes enfants, ma famille, parce que j'espère qu'un jour à l'autre, ils vont être des personnes qui vont même dépasser avec un certain niveau aussi. Leur avenir, on peut dire que on peut préparer l'avenir, mais des fois Dieu aussi peut faire aussi autre chose. Mais je pense que leur avenir, je sais qu'ils vont continuer à être des personnes un jour.
The biggest sacrifice that we make is just putting our children's health on the line. I have no idea how many kids I've seen die from malaria, how many kids I've actually been holding in my arms while they die from malaria. You know, your own kid gets malaria, and all that flashes through your mind, because you know that kid that died in your hands, you were giving him the best treatment you could. And you keep thinking, well, you know, if maybe I'd done this, or maybe I'd done this, or maybe I'd done this, but you know that you had really given the best treatment, and that kid still died. So what makes your kid different?
Sarah and I both love kids. So for the first few years of our marriage, of course, we didn't want to have kids. And then we wanted to have kids, and then we couldn't have kids. So we're like, oh, great. We tried in vitro fertilization several times, and didn't work. Finally, Sarah got pregnant, and we were so excited. I found it was a little girl, and then when she was 5 months pregnant, one day she just woke up and said, James, my water broke. Baby was still alive, but we knew it was inevitable at that age. There's no way to save her no matter where we were in the world. And I delivered her in our bedroom. Perfect little girl, still alive when she came out, but obviously not gonna last. So we had to bury her in our front yard. We didn't really tell too many people about it. Or we had told some people, but then that kind of got us gun shy, so we didn't tell people about it. So we went through a couple more cycles, finally got pregnant again, and this time it was twins. And we're like, wow, this is amazing. God is making up for it. You know, I'm a twin. Having twins is always my dream. And then we found out it was a boy and a girl. And so like, this is just astounding. So we had them in the States for 3 months, and then we brought them back to Chad, and things were fine, great, no problems in Chad. We were in Mundu, just getting things started, so I had a lot of time to spend with them because I was just doing construction, wasn't called away in the middle of the night or anything. And then when they were 6 months old, we went on a trip to Cameroon. We noticed that Adam had a fever, very high fever. So of course, first thing we think of, it's gotta be malaria. And so we gave him a first dose of malaria medicine. We crushed it up, tried to give it to him. He ate a little bit, I don't know how much he got. Fever kind of went down a little bit. But the next day we said, we know where we want our kids to be when they have malaria. We're gonna take them to Beri. So we drove down from N'Djamena to Beri. Olin and Danae were there.
We put them on IV quinine one evening, and they looked pretty good.
Did malaria smears on them this time, not the rapid, but the actual smears. And sure enough, Adam had quite a high amount of malaria, and Miriam also had malaria. They were just at the point where they were starting to get aware of each other. So they were kind of rolling around and getting in a little trouble. And it's not really what you want when you have kids hooked up to IVs. So we were trying to keep them from pulling out their IVs and rolling over. And then it was time for their next dose. So I was preparing the IV fluids and drying out the medicine and injecting it. And then we got it all going. And then I think I was watching Miriam, and Sarah just said, did Adam have a seizure? And I looked over, and he wasn't breathing. And so immediately I started doing CPR, and I quickly called Olin, and he came over.
And as I walked in, I saw that he was actually doing CPR on his 6-month-old boy. So I'm an emergency physician, and at that moment, I was At that moment, I was an emergency physician. We gave Adam the right medicines. We gave him epinephrine. We gave him medicines to stabilize his heart. We did CPR right. We breathed for him. We did everything right. We did a good job.
and we tried to revive him, gave him all these different, all the things you do for resuscitation for like about an hour. And then, and Sarah kept saying, she looked at his pupils, they were fixed and dilated. She's like, no, let's not do this anymore. And it was like, as long as there's that brief amount of chance that he was gonna be alive, it didn't really hit me what was happening. But as soon as we stopped, then I just lost it. And I definitely know I've never cried like that in my life. And, but at the same time, if it had to happen, I'm glad it happened in Chad. Because it's just part of life. Everybody, there's not a single person we know in Chad who has not lost someone close to them. So we buried him that same day, right next to Dina, our other little premature daughter. There was a couple people who said, isn't it time to come home and keep your family safe and not expose your children to such dangers? And both Sarah and I were just so mad at that, because it's like, oh, and what about the Chadians who can't? And what about all the Chadians who would have died if we hadn't been here? I mean, since when is our life supposed to be about self-preservation? Since when is a believer supposed to try and save his life? I thought that's the way you lose your life. And is death really such an enemy? For someone who believes, death is asleep. Adam's not suffering anywhere. Do you think he's going to be upset about missing out on growing up in this world? I don't think so. And we're going to get to watch him grow up in a much better place. And if it hadn't been for his death, we wouldn't have our son right now, because we wouldn't have done IVF so soon. But we wanted to get pregnant again soon after Adam died. And so we got Noah out of it, and he's just amazing. And we wouldn't have him. So we've gained Noah, and we haven't lost Adam. We've just been separated from him temporarily. After Adam's death, it's amazing how many people came by, people I didn't even know, really. And especially I remember, really what I noticed most was the old women with their calloused hands. They come and just shake your hand. They won't say anything, just look in your eyes. And you look back in their eyes and you just know. They know what you're going through.
Cette douleur, nous ressentons la douleur parce que quelqu'un a quitté de loin pour venir aider, participer aussi à nos situations. Et il perd quelqu'un. Donc ça, c'est des douleurs. Et nous aussi sur place, nous savons que nous avons une famille que nous ne pouvons pas la perdre. Et cette famille est partie. C'est aussi la douleur. Donc ensemble, nous compatissons cette douleur ensemble avec eux et eux aussi avec nous aussi.
It's really hard for me right now being here in Chad without my family. Being here 2 months without them, that's going to be by far the longest time I've spent away from them ever.
Quand je quitte pour Abéché souvent et à Bougdam, je dis à madame, je vais voyager. Quand je vois madame, je pense que peut-être elle va être triste. Des fois, c'est moi qui suis triste. Je lui dis, mais je vais vous laisser, ça va être comment? Elle me dit non. Comme tu es en train de partir pour Dieu, il n'y a pas de problème. Ce que je voudrais pour ma famille, mon rêve, c'est que ma femme devienne une pédiatre ou une gynécologue. Et ça va vraiment aider beaucoup la santé adventiste au Tchad. Et pour mon fils, je suis en train de prier Dieu qui devient un neurochirurgien comme Ben Carson pour travailler dans une de nos hôpitaux. Et ma fille, qu'elle puisse devenir également une journaliste afin de pouvoir faire réaliser des émissions sur la santé au Tchad afin de pouvoir mettre sur la télé nationale ou bien la télé adventiste. Donc voici l'objectif que j'ai pour ma famille.
we're coming to a place where we've got nothing. And so I want to have some place where I can at least put my family, hopefully, or at least have a good start on it where I can hopefully finish things shortly after coming back with my family. And so I've kind of made that sacrifice this time around. One of the reasons we're really looking forward to being here in Abushe is Mundu wasn't really a place we wanted to raise our family. We were on a compound in a city, and when they're tiny, fine. But as they start to grow, we want them to have expanses to roam. I mean, this is Africa. Chad is a huge country, lots of open spaces. We want them to enjoy that. We feel like it's a great environment for them to be exposed to other religions, yet in a tolerant sort of way, and to just have an education that's a little different maybe than your standard education.
Death is not the worst possible outcome. We're taught in America that, as a doctor, your patient dies and you're almost insulted. How could this patient die on me? I gave my best care. This is a failure. And it's not always the worst outcome here. I learned that, my priority in America is medicine first, and my priority here, it's been an extreme challenge. I tried to witness through practicing good medicine, but first and foremost, I'm a missionary, and secondarily, I'm a doctor. And I've learned that the two are occasionally mutually exclusive. And even in the sadness, even in the death, there are still huge opportunities. Patients suffer, patients die. And oftentimes we discharge them home to die, and the family knows this. And we'll go visit them in the village. I specifically remember one patient had tons and tons of issues, was losing weight rapidly, and kind of sent him home to die eventually. Went home to visit him repeatedly as he got worse, and met with his family and prayed with his family. And actually when he died, the family asked us to start a church there. So that's one of the branch Sabbath schools we have, is actually in this church. We go there every week, we sing songs, we tell Bible stories. And it was an opportunity that came out of something that was just really a horrible, horrible circumstance.
Quel animal?
Il est entré sur quel animal?
So the people here are always using this one word in French, ensemble. We work ensemble, or we are ensemble, or let's do this ensemble, or the ensemble of things, or ensemble this, ensemble that. And the word means loosely, together. I mean, it kind of does mean together, but it means so much more than that. There's just so much subtle meaning in French that the English word just doesn't quite capture. But the French word really does capture what living in a society that is interdependent really means. A Chadian would never be caught dead eating by himself. He always wants to eat ensemble with other people. He would never want to travel by himself. He would much rather travel 22 people packed into a tiny bus ensemble. And one of the greatest things that they can say is the kind of a solidarity thing. On est ensemble. We're together. This is us.
Ici au Tchad, nous faisons tous ensemble. Nous mangeons ensemble, nous voyageons ensemble, nous nous promenons ensemble, parce que nous voyons que quand nous sommes unis, c'est plus bien. Mais quand tu es à seul, c'est très difficile. Donc c'est pourquoi nous voulons souvent être ensemble. Nous ne faisons que suivre un principe de la Bible dans Ecclésiaste qui dit que deux vaut mieux qu'un. C'est pourquoi nous aimons être ensemble.
That's the richness of the Chadian culture, is that sense of togetherness, of being ensemble, of being together and not these isolated little people lonely out there stuck on their own, but a community of people. Even if they're sharing suffering, if you're sharing suffering ensemble, it's not so bad. You look back on it and you laugh, because you were ensemble and you went through it ensemble.
The greatest thing that is rewarding about Chad to me is that I really feel a deep sense of calling, that we were called to this place. And just to see the massive need and to know that we are filling a need is very, very rewarding.
I would not choose to be anywhere else. I know I was made to be here, and I don't think everybody can say that, and it is very rewarding.
And then we build friendships with people, mostly with our staff, And these friendships with our staff, these collaborations, they're very exciting. They're highly rewarding.
Every time you go by, walk by someone, they notice that you're there. They always say lapia, they always say hello, they always greet you.
At first, and you can barely communicate in French. You don't know anybody. And then over the course of years, you build these really deep friendships as you're working side by side. They're suffering, they're getting sick, they're getting frustrated with the same limitations that we are. You really build a bond that I intend will last a lifetime.
Nous allons collaborer ensemble avec les missionnaires qui viennent. Eux aussi vont collaborer avec nous. Nous aussi, nous allons collaborer avec eux aussi. Et cette collaboration, c'est ça là qui va amener un bon développement. Et nous personnellement, à l'hôpital, jusqu'aujourd'hui, nous collaborons bien avec les missionnaires qui viennent. Donc pour nous, nous voulons que notre hôpital, je pense que l'hôpital adventiste soit renommé partout dans le monde pour que les gens sachent qu'à Béret, il y a quelque chose ici à Béret.
Donc ensemble, nous pouvons faire de grandes choses. Ensemble, nous pouvons construire. Ensemble, nous pouvons éduquer. Ensemble, nous pouvons soigner. Ensemble, nous pouvons faire tomber beaucoup de barrières et avoir une très grande vision.
Having 2 kids buried here in Chad and having felt that stronger connection now with the losses of the people who they suffer every day really ties us a lot more to this Chadian community. It makes us feel a lot more like this is where we're supposed to be. This is our home too.